Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Always Right. I'm Chris Thomas, and this is Larissa. There's a lot of buzz going on right now about a certain very, very classy, not porn star, Mia Khalifa, who thinks she can be the authority on marriage and marriage advice. And this has been something circulating a lot on social media. I just did a response actually, or a stitch on one of her videos where she actually is bragging about how many divorces she's had and comparing herself to Tom Brady with his Super Bowl rings. This is how many rings I have from all my divorces, and divorce is so great. And again, I've said this in my TikTok too. I'm not against divorce. I think divorce should be legal. I think people who are in bad situations and in dangerous marriages should be able to get out of those. I fully empathize with that. But I just think it says something about our culture, how low we've gotten, where people who have big influence and who have millions of views and follows are actually saying divorce should be something that we aim for as a goal, and that the more divorces you have, the cooler you are. I've never heard of any other period in time where that would be a good thing. Um,
Nope.
but we're going to take a look at this infamous video that everybody is talking about right now.
Oh, we're comparing stats. Baby girl doesn't know that I am Tom Brady at this game. Married at 18, divorced at 21. Second marriage, married at 25, divorced at 28. Third engagement, engaged at 29, ended it at 30, but I kept the ring. I'm still keeping Tom Brady on his toes. We should not be afraid to leave these men. We are not stuck with these people. Marriage is not a sanctimonious thing. It is paperwork. It's something it's a commitment you make to someone. But if you feel like you're not getting anything from that commitment and you're trying, you gotta go. You gotta go. You have to go. I know it's difficult to fill out paperwork and to make appointments and to do all of these things, but this is your fucking life. Do you want to be stuck with someone? Period. Do you want to be stuck with?
Okay, so at face value, I could see why people would defend it because she's saying you shouldn't have to stick with somebody that's bad. I think we
Right.
could agree with that. We shouldn't have to stick with somebody
Absolutely.
that's bad. Number two, um, that it's your life. Marriage is a big deal, and it's your life, and so it shouldn't be taken lightly, and you shouldn't be roped into something you don't want. I agree, but
Yep.
there's a couple points in there. There's a couple points hidden in there because I think it's made to sound like really good advice about being practical, but there's a couple things in there that she says. Number one, marriage is not sanctimonious. Marriage is sanctimonious. I mean, the original
hmm
definition of a marriage is two people um, making a union before God to commit to the rest of their lives together. That is a
Yep.
sanctimonious promise. I think, unfortunately, we live in a culture that's devalued that a lot, right?
Agreed.
Um, and we've forgotten what monogamy is. We've forgotten what a lot of things that make good families are. And so I think we live in a culture that has devalued it. That's true, but that doesn't mean there wasn't value in the original definition of what a
Right.
marriage is. And I think the troubling part about what she's saying is that we shouldn't even strive for it. Because I think that's what's hidden in her message is we shouldn't even strive for it to be a sanctimonious thing. She's saying,
Right.
well, it's not a sanctimonious thing, it means nothing, so let's treat it like it means nothing. That's what she's really saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did a little research on her. Um, she has um, one of the great achievements of being the most searched model on Pornhub
Oh,
several years ago. So I guess that's a really good accomplishment.
it's a
Um,
great achievement. I think that'll be my next achievement. Definitely top five for the next maybe next 3 years. I would say get to be like number one porn star searched on Pornhub. Definitely, that's definitely up there, guys. So, you know,
so, so her relationship history is this: Khalifa married her high school boyfriend in February 2011. At this time, she was
oh, so she's like my age. Okay.
Oh yeah, so she's born in 93. Okay. So in
Oh, literally my age.
2011,
Okay.
yeah, so she's yeah, so in 2011 that means she was 18, right?
Yes, depending
So
on what
she
month she was born.
okay, so 18ish. So she married her high school boyfriend in 2011, February 2011. So she couldn't have been that close to
Okay, yeah,
19.
then she was definitely
Yeah.
18. Yeah.
Okay. So she gets married right out of high school. They separated in 2014 and divorced in 2016. In 2019, she married professional chef Robert Sandberg. In 2019, they separated in 2020. As of 2022, she is in a relationship with Puerto Rican rapper Jayco. Okay, so here's the deal. All of these relationships are short enough that this is the. I feel like people usually date a few years before they get married. So all of
Right.
her marriages are like the length of a normal
A
person.
normal relationship before you even get engaged.
Exactly. So her problem isn't that she was. I mean, again, who
To me,
really
it
knows?
sounds like she has a commitment problem herself.
Exactly, and that's what I'm getting at. She's a commitment problem herself, and if you look her up, she's not really talking about um, being abused or any kind of really scandalous stuff. It just
So
sounds
then
like
she
she
just
got
might be getting bored.
right. She's getting bored, and that's I would say if I was talking to Mia, that's a you problem. That's not a
It,
marriage. That's not a problem
right.
with the institution of marriage or a problem with men or a problem with the patriarchy. That's a you problem.
And if you are
That's what I
getting
would.
bored, maybe you should work that out with your significant other and say, hey, listen, maybe we should try to do things to make things more exciting again. Maybe go on like a us only weekend, especially if you have kids. I know that could be very A, time consuming, and B, takes a lot of energy out of you and to where you kind of do feel like you are abusing your partner. But if you do not have kids, then I don't know, maybe try going to marriage counseling, seeing if there's anything that could possibly be done with both of you working together. I mean, that's what marriage is. I'm not going to say it's 50-50. I think it's both 100-100 on each of your parts. And if you're not giving your 100, then it's not going to work in the long run. And times get tough. That's people who have been married for over 5 years will tell you that marriage is hard work. So, I mean,
Marriage is hard work. No, it's. I mean, I think dating can be hard work if you're taking it seriously.
absolutely.
So marriage is
Absolutely.
exactly, and marriage is harder than dating. It's just the way it is. There's nothing in life that's just going to fall in your lap and be perfect. I think fairy tale weddings exist, fairy tale vacations exist, but fairy tale lives don't exist. Even for
No,
the most
no, they do
privileged
not.
people, even for the most privileged people, life has ups and downs.
I mean, to
And
me, the people with the most money are the most unhappy, right? Because they think that money can buy happiness, but in reality, it doesn't. Maybe
yeah,
it
I mean,
does to a
people.
certain extent, but if you're not really happy in, your marriage or your dating life, I mean, or even with your children, are you really satisfied and happy?
Exactly, I totally agree. And I think the scary thing is this video had hundreds of thousands of views and likes, and there are a lot of young. Oops, trying to mute this. There were a lot of young women that were really looking up to her and her advice and saying that these were facts and they agreed with the sentiment. And I just think it's sad that we have this whole generation of young people and young women that really don't have a concept of taking things seriously and committing. And I think like I mean
Now,
you
do
and I
you think
talk.
her being a porn star maybe kind of has some correlation with that? Because who's to say that maybe with her first marriage or her second, it didn't necessarily work out because of maybe jealousy issues that were going on in the relationship because of her choice of career? I mean, who
Interesting
knows? But
interesting you say that because one of the divorces, at least she alluded to, was because her husband didn't like that she was getting all this attention online, and she was a cam girl too. It wasn't just she was shooting videos; like she
ah,
was doing these one-on-one interactions with people on Bang Bros, and that like here's the thing: like I get the whole thing, like yeah, husbands, you don't own your wives, you don't own their bodies, but you can understand why a guy would be like, I don't like that you're on a webcam with a bunch of other men who are strangers showing them your intimate parts. Like I can understand if you're a husband. Now I would say partly it's if you know your wife is doing that and that's not okay with you, don't get into that relationship either. I would say that burden would
Right.
fall on the man too. It's not like it was. She's very open about her porn star status. So
Right.
I would put a little blame on the man. Like why would you get into a relationship with somebody if that's going to be an issue for you? But
Hmm.
anyway, a broader discussion we can have about the porn industry. I think it's a very I don't condemn people who do porn, but I think it's a very hypocritical thing. And the reason I say that is because usually it's very sexually free women who are in porn, especially the ones who are open about it. Because there are a lot of people who do porn secretly, and then there are the people who are the sex positive feminists who do porn. And these are the
Hmm.
same women that will say that men are all evil and treat women like objects, yet they're feeding the industry that is keeping men addicted to porn and doing that.
Exactly.
And to me,
Yep.
as a man, and I've seen porn before. I'm not gonna lie, or maybe I shouldn't say that on here, but but um, but I think there's some men who get really really addicted to porn. Not me. I'm married, but it's
I
true.
know a few, so I totally understand.
But it's a real phenomenon. And I think it's sad because it also, even men who are like good hearted guys, if they get really, really conditioned to porn, it changes their view of relationships and women. And it actually, there is some data that suggests that men who are really, really into porn and watch it very habitually, they have problems with erectile dysfunction and other types of problems because they are used to a certain level of extremeness in what turns them on, and then normal sex doesn't turn them on as much. And
Oh yeah, I know that from
yeah,
experience from my past dating history, and it's actually really sad because I mean, back in the day you needed to order magazines, right? But
hmm
that was a little bit harder to hide compared to everything being on your phone now, right? So it's as easy as 1, 2, 3 is just clearing your search history. Your wife,
exactly.
girlfriend, significant other would never know. Um, and the fact that it is so easily accessible, that is what's keeping, I'm gonna say, the larger demographic of males so like you said, just intrigued by it because it's just there and it's always there. And unless we no longer have phones that have internet, it's not going to go away and it's going to be a problem.
100%. And as a disclaimer for anyone watching, I don't condemn sex workers. I condemn the industry of sex work. I think it's bad for men and women. I think gives
Yep.
it obviously gives unhealthy expectations and unhealthy habits for men, and it keeps women in a situation that maybe a lot of them don't want to be in. And we could have debates about like whether there are people who are really fulfilled and happy with sex work. That's another debate. Um, but I think we can agree on a common sense level. You shouldn't brag about how many divorces you've had. You
No.
shouldn't be telling young girls that you should be fine getting into marriages you're not serious about. Um, it's not cool.
No, it is not. It's definitely not a good look. It's really not. And stuff like this honestly makes me so scared for our youth. And it kind of started like with the whole Cardi B thing,
Oh yeah,
with her WAP song, I don't cook, I don't clean, da 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 da. And now you have this girl who has a lot of influence over these young girls saying, oh, you could literally just hop from one marriage to another. It's worthless. It's just a piece of paper, da 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 da. And it's like, really, you know what I mean? Like, can we try to be more positive about things? Why do we have to always keep things so negative? I hate this. I really do.
and I'll tell you the tragedy of this is that she could actually be a positive influence on young women if she said, "Hey, these are the mistakes that we made in our past relationships, and this is how you can learn to have a more stable one." If it
Right.
was this is what I learned from all of these guys I married and divorced, this is what I learned doesn't make a good marriage. Here's how we can be better and how I can inspire young women to be more realistic about relationships and and have a better attitude about them.
Yep.
That's the opportunity she has, and she squandered it. And I hope she
Yep.
turns around and can learn that she could be a force for good. The sad thing, she probably thinks she is being a force for good, exactly how she is. But I think it's a tragedy.
I I have to agree. I do. And it's unfortunate, but hey, what are you going to do, Freedom of speech.
freedom of speech, and bozos have freedom of speech too.
Exactly. They get a little bit more than we do, but it's okay.
And on that, guys, I hope you enjoyed our takes here, and we will be back with more awesome content coming soon. Thanks, guys.